Hey folks, so today I'm going to be doing a review on some pre-threaded needles, and these needles are from Princess Platinumm. These are the needles I will be reviewing, and Princess Platinumm sent these to me to review. And the needles come pre-threaded. They are for one-time use only, which means they're not meant to be rethreaded again by you. And they have two thread options available, nylon and cotton. And let's see. One thing I do notice is the type of thread is not on the packaging, at least not from what I can see. And each package comes with 10 needles. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this up because, like I said, there's nothing on the package to tell you what type of thread it is, so you're going to have an eye for the thread so you can tell the difference. Or I'm sorry, so you can tell which one you received. And from looking at this is the cotton thread. And this is how they come. So I'm going to, the tube just slides off of the thread, and here's the length of the thread. So it's not quite a full arm, double arm's length, but it's longer than just one arm's length. So like for me, it's as long as my arm and it goes across my chest. And what I'm going to do with these needles, because I don't normally use cotton thread, so I'm going to use them to make my own wig. I'm going to come back and report to you how they work, how they hold up, and if things move a little quicker than usual because I don't have to thread these needles. And they are knotted, I forgot to mention, on the ends. And it looks like it's a single knot. So I'm going to go ahead and knot them again because I prefer a double knot the ends of my thread, so I'm just looping again to make a second knot on there. So there we have it, pre-threaded. I'm going to go ahead and use these, and I will be back to let you know how everything turns out. Okay, so I'm back. I had an opportunity to use the needles, and what I'm going to do is review the actual needles and how effective they are. I don't want to review the thread simply because it's not the type of thread I use. One thing I will say about the thread though, when I was knotting the thread after finishing one of the needles, it seemed like every time I would knot it twice, it broke. So after knotting it 2 times, then the thread broke. The needles themselves, wonderful, good quality needles. They are very, very sharp. So that's something you want to be careful of. I stabbed my thumb about 10 times. And it's a small needle. I've used also larger C needles. These are the smaller C needles. They're not tiny, but they're small, as I showed you earlier in the video. And as far as them being sharp, I want to mention that because you may want to be careful if you're sewing on someone's head. You don't want to poke them because they're going to bleed. And also, as far as the needles not being for reuse, that is due to sanitation issues, because a lot of stylists don't sanitize their needles as they should when they're moving from client to client and you are scraping this needle on different people's heads and going through their hair. So that's why the needles are not meant to be reused. They're meant to be discarded so that you have clean needles each time of use. What I will say, the thread on the needles is not as long as I normally like it. The process of sewing did go much faster, but the fact that I had to stop and tie the knots off, it added a little bit more time to it because I ended up having to stop to tie the knots off more often than I normally do. I would actually love to see how their nylon thread is because that's what I normally use. Nylon, polyester, anything but cotton. But I will say their cotton thread didn't tangle, it didn't snarl. And I really like the needles. They went through very easily, and the sharpness is very good for those of you who may, I don't recommend this at all, but for those of you who may sew through the wefts. But if you're sewing through a cap, the sharp needles are great for that. They're great if you're sewing through a thick cap, like for people that make their own wigs at home and they use a thick, like a swim cap. It's good for that. It definitely gets through that cap easily. And the needles are very sturdy. They actually feel more sturdy than the needles I normally use, which took some getting used to because I'm used to, you know, having to maneuver my needle through. But these needles, I mean, they literally just, they're really, really solid. So overall, I give the needles a 8 out of 10. I would say 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10 simply because I stabbed myself so many times and because of the length of the thread. I would appreciate longer thread, but I know a lot of people like the shorter thread. They are, like I said, they are 10 in a pack. As of right now, I believe on the website, the Platinumm needles are $3.50 for a pack of 10. Now, I will say I used the whole pack of 10 and I wasn't able to finish half of a wig. So that says a lot as far as how much thread is included. So I would think I would need 3 packs of needles, like 30 needles in order to finish a full wig. Or, and maybe for sewing, I might need 2.5 packs of the needles, which would be like 20 to 25 needles. So that was one thing I would like to note as far as why I gave them an 8 and not a 9 or a 10. I didn't get too far with them. I mean, I did work a lot faster, but I didn't get that far. So, but that's my review of the needles. I believe I touched on everything. There wasn't too much to cover with the needles, but I mean, I think they're great. Would I recommend them? If you are a stylist and you are sewing different people's heads, yes, I do recommend them 100% for sanitation issues. And yeah, that was my review of Platinumm needles. Thanks for watching, and I will come see you guys later with another video soon. Bye.